Hey guys, and welcome back to the NPA for week number 4 of the Game of the Week. I am your analyst, Swami Studios, and today we have a matchup between the St. Louis Swamperts and Corey the Korethmangamer, taking on Andrew, aka Person 715, and the Atlanta Braviaries. Both teams are 1 and 2. And we have the St. Louis Swamperts on the bottom with Raticate, Tornadus, Fortress, Moltres, Dragonite, and Magneton. There is no trace of a Mega on Corey's team, so no Mega Swampert. And for Andrew, it's Girder, Luxray, Sableye, Vivillon, Miltank, and Mega Absol. So, to start things off, we are going to see Andrew lead with his Mega Evolution, being the Mega Absol. It's a safe lead because you get that Magic Bounce right up at the very beginning. That way you can get the reflection for any attacks that, say, a Fortress wants to set up. And Corey, instead of leading the Fortress, leads with the Raticate. So, the Mega Absol will Mega Evolve to start things off per league rules, and we are underway. The Raticate will go first, and it will use Swords Dance, which is always dangerous, usually a Guts variant for a Raticate. As Absol may be predicting a switch, goes for a Zen Headbutt, and Zen Headbutt's going to do a ton of damage, which at this point, Raticate's going down. Sucker Punch comes out from the Mega Absol, and that is a 1-0 lead so far for Andrew. In comes the Fortress, which is an interesting Pokemon to bring in here because there's not really much that a Fortress can do to an Absol, especially a Mega Absol in this situation. You can't set up any of your hazards. Really, all you can do is switch out. And the Absol exposes its trump card. It is carrying Flamethrower. And the Flamethrower comes out and is going to knock the Fortress down to its sturdy, which is absolutely incredible. The Fortress goes for a slow Volt Switch, which will get a critical hit on the Absol. Still does about a quarter, and out goes the Fortress. So in comes Dragonite. And Dragonite is a scary Pokemon no matter what. It is a Pokemon that loves to set up, as Corey goes for Person goes for the Zen Headbutt. Corey's going to go for the Dragon Dance, which is usually a normal type of Dragonite set. And at this point, Person's really in trouble. It goes for a Sucker Punch. Dragonite, not going to let that happen. Goes for a second Dragon Dance. And now it's in a shaky predicament. So instead of staying in and going for another Sucker Punch, Andrew is going to switch out into the Miltank. And I don't really agree with this play. You do have an Intimidator in the back. And the Dragonite's going to go for an Extreme Speed. And the Extreme Speed's going to do just under half to the Miltank. At +2 speed, it's guaranteed to outspeed the Miltank. And the Miltank is going to take an Earthquake from this Dragonite. At +2, that is going to hurt, but it's going to hold on. Stealth Rocks come out, which is an interesting move. I don't know what attacking moves this Miltank has. It's probably a defensive wall of some sort. But the Dragonite's going to go for one more Earthquake and finish off the Miltank. So this Dragonite's putting in the finest of work already. It's already evened things up at 1-1. But the Fortress is down to low health. So in comes Prankstar the Sableye. As it goes for a Toxic, it will connect with the Dragonite. But the Dragonite is carrying Lumberry, which leads me to believe that one of the other moves on this Dragonite is indeed Outrage. Normal set, Dragon Dance, Outrage. Maybe Earthquake and Extreme Speed is the final two, as he gets a crit on the Earthquake. I don't know if it mattered. Sableye is a rather frail Pokemon. And in comes the Sin. Luxray with its Intimidate. I probably would have switched in Luxray much sooner to try to lower down the Dragonite. But another Earthquake comes out from Dragonite. It's going to hit the Luxray, and it will take it out in one hit. So the Dragonite is currently sweeping in the middle of this matchup. It is 3 Pokemon down for Andrew. He's going to go for another Earthquake, and the Girder is going to take more than half damage. That is definitely not Eviolite, as the Ice Punch comes out and finishes off the Dragonite. So, we're close to a 3-3 tie now, because the Fortress is pretty low health. The Flame Orb does activate, though, and in comes Colonel Sanders, the Moltres. So the Moltres is going to take tremendous damage from Stealth Rocks, and it's going to protect on the first turn. I don't agree with that, because you have to be able to do something to this girder. I guess he wants to lower its health even more through the Flame Orb. I think that's just a wasted turn. I think you could have gotten some damage off or something. But instead, Moltres goes for a Defog, and at this point, based on the team that Corey has, I don't think the Defog was really all that necessary. Maybe it was to lower its evasiveness so a Hurricane could hit, but all in all, it really kind of feels like there wasn't much purpose into doing that. If you can attack and take out the girder here, then, well, it's done. But instead, you are pretty much sacrificing your Moltres when it could still have a decent role in this matchup. So I don't agree with that move, but the pointed stones disappear. The girder goes for the Facade, and that's easily going to pick up the KO on the Moltres. And at this point, the girder is on its last legs, but it's a really close match at this point. So it's 3-3, and both of these Pokemon are going to go down pretty much this turn. Suplex City is going to go for the Mach Punch. It's going to take out the Fortress with ease, obviously with only 1 HP, that thing's not living. And the burn damage from the Flame Orb will take out the girder. So we're down to the final 4 Pokemon, 2v2, in an absolutely crazy back and forth battle. In comes the Vivillon, and in comes the Tornadus. So Tornadus automatically has the advantage in this matchup, and that is the move that changes this game. This was a move to guarantee that the Hurricanes hit on his side, but you'll see. So Tornadus goes for the Rain Dance, and the Vivillon is going to go for its Quiver Dance. And obviously Quiver Dance is a fantastic move on Vivillon. It is so dangerous. And I don't know the calcs. I guess it probably wasn't worth it. The Vivillon's going to go for a second Quiver Dance. I guess you could have potentially done something else, but I guess the second Quiver Dance doesn't hurt too much, especially with the Magneton as the last Pokemon. The Tornadus goes for the Hurricane, and the Hurricane's going to knock the Vivillon down to its Sash. So maybe it would have been better to only go for one and go for the Hurricane, because the Vivillon does get confused. However, it breaks through the confusion and takes out the Tornadus with the Hurricane, and we are now in a 1v2 situation. It is Magneton, most likely with Eviolite, taking on a Vivillon and a weakened Mega Absol. So the Vivillon is still confused. It is going to hit through confusion, and it's going to hit the Magneton with a Hurricane, which doesn't do much damage, but it does land the confusion on the Magneton as well. So craziness going back and forth, and the Magneton hits itself in confusion. And at this point, can the Vivillon get that lucky to get 3 straight hits through confusion? No, it cannot. And the Vivillon goes down, so it is a 1v1, the Magneton versus the Absol. And the Magneton will hit itself in confusion for a second straight turn. Down to 98 HP, it is the Absol versus the Magneton. And why was that Rain Dance the most important thing? Rain Dance weakened the Flamethrower. Absol is going to go for the Flamethrower onto the Magneton. It is going to hit. It's going to do... so, 42 HP. That did about 56 HP with a crit because of the rain. I mean, that's crazy. I don't know if that would have KO'd anyway, but Magneton goes for the Signal Beam, and that will finish off the Absol, and that will finish off the battle. Before I go, I'm going to run 2 calcs for you guys, just so we can get an idea of what happened. Alright, so I just ran the calcs. 2 things to note. 1, a +1 Quiver Dance cannot KO a Tornadus, no matter what, even with no investment from the Tornadus in defense or HP. So the +2 is needed. And secondly, if it wasn't adamant, if it was like a nature that didn't boost either, I mean, if it didn't decrease special attack, so maybe like a naive nature, the Flamethrower with 0 investment would have done about 49 to 60% outside of the rain. The crit plus that, I'm assuming, maybe it was adamant, maybe it wasn't. Whatever it was, if he put some investment into it, it's possible that it could have KO'd, but the Rain Dance probably helped, because with the crit, if the Rain Dance wasn't up, it definitely would have KO'd. So that's the play. That pretty much won the battle for Corey. It was an incredible battle between the two, as now the St. Louis Swamperts improved to 2-2. The Atlanta Braviaries fall to 1-3. I hope you guys enjoyed. I am Swami Studios. I'll be talking to you guys next week. Peace.